What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to Down to the Wire. I'm your host, Brian Costa, and today I've got a really special episode in store for you. If you've listened to my show before, you know that along with my sports talk roundtables, I also like to conduct interviews with athletes and individuals with unique and interesting stories. For today's episode, we will get the opportunity to highlight a person who is actively involved in a cause that is both fascinating and noble. The name of the movement is Adventures with Purpose, and they specialize in search and recovery for missing people, as well as environmental cleanup efforts around the country. Since 2019, they have successfully solved 26 cold cases and have removed over 100 vehicles from the water. As a result of their success, they have amassed an incredible following. They are quickly approaching 2 million subscribers on YouTube and have many more across other platforms. So without any further ado, coming to us from Portland, Oregon, please welcome to the show one of the individuals at the forefront of this mission, Mr. Doug Bishop. Doug, glad to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Brian.
Absolutely, man. I'm so glad to have you on the show. Again, I explained a little bit before we went on air that I've been following your content for some time now. I think probably, since I'd say, November, December of 2021. And the fact that I'm able to have you on now, it's really good. I know we've been in contact for a little bit, and I know that obviously the reason this wasn't able to happen sooner is because you were out, doing some work for this, doing some work for Adventures of Purpose. You were on, what was it, like a 45-day trip?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously you're constantly working, which I admire. It's amazing. And I'm very glad to get the chance to talk with you about some of this stuff during the interview today. Obviously, typically I'll bring comedians, I'll bring different types of people on this show, but traditionally this is a sports show. So, before we kind of dive into the specifics of it, I kind of just wanted to ask you, outside of diving, which I know some people do for some sports, maybe they do free diving or whatnot. Were there any kind of sports that you kind of, traditional sports that you grew up playing?
Yeah, I grew up playing baseball.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I grew up playing baseball, played catcher for my entire career. And
okay.
I loved it.
I mean, listen, I kind of find it funny that you grew up playing baseball because, listen, I'm a New England guy, and I see the beard you got going. It kind of gives me some 2013 Red Sox vibes. I mean, you look like you could be like Johnny Gomes or Mike Napoli's cousin. I mean, I love that thing. How long you been growing that thing?
Oh, I've been growing it for about 6 years.
Oh my God, man, that's insane.
Yeah, it is. It's grown on me, And now everybody loves my beard instead of me.
I mean, listen, it's a hell of a beard. So that's actually funny that you mentioned the baseball. So I mean, listen, baseball was my number one sport. It's what I, loved to do growing up. I obviously had other loves, but that was kind of my sport growing up. Now, obviously, kind of getting to more of the stuff that you're doing now for diving, was that also something that you were into at a younger age, or is that something that maybe like your career kind of put you more towards?
I guess technically you could say my career led me to it.
How did you get into it?
So my entire life, I've been involved in the towing industry. I've owned, operated, and managed multiple companies from the East Coast where you're at to South in Florida to up here in the Pacific Northwest. And, me and my best friend, Jared, which is the founder of Adventures with Purpose, when he started Adventures with Purpose, it was environmentally focused, oriented, cleaning up the environment and et cetera. And, when he started to find vehicles underwater to remove them, he got a hold of me and wanted to know if I would donate our services to pulling them out. And we did. That's how him and I teamed up in this. And, we started removing cars left and right here in Portland, Oregon. And, him and, his volunteer divers that would come out and be a part of the cause, sending them underwater to rig my cars that I'm pulling out, was phenomenal. But, me being a rigger and coming from that world, I wanted to be the one underwater. I wanted to get in there and do it. And with his purpose, with Adventures with Purpose evolving into such an amazing thing, it really just made me wanting to get into the water even more. Yeah. And so specifically because of this is why I got certified as a diver. It wasn't because, I wanted to look at, beautiful fish or coral reef, which I would love to do one day. Unfortunately, it was strictly to get into water for environmental purposes and to help families.
Yeah. So obviously, I know some people that kind of do it more on that kind of side. I know a good friend of mine, he likes to go scuba diving down in like Panama and do some stuff like that. So
Yeah.
obviously it's very interesting that you kind of got into this for your work and were able to do that. I mean, you mentioned getting involved with Jared, who was someone I wanted to mention, kind of at some point in the episode. Obviously, he was kind of like the lead guy getting behind Adventures with Purpose. How did you two actually kind of come across each other? Did you kind of grow up close to each other, or what happened with that?
No, not at all. So the towing company that I was running here in Portland, Oregon, I was doing a lot of marketing for it.
Yeah.
All over. I was investing heavily into our brand and into our image. And when he found his very first car underwater, when he was doing these environmental cleanups, the first thing he did was to try to seek help and a towing company, because the local police, they didn't care about it.
Yeah.
There's red tape there. I don't want to label Portland police as not caring. There was just things preventing them from helping Jared.
No, absolutely.
So, and with that being said, he started reaching out to towing companies, and I was the only one that wanted to help him for free. And it good cause. At the time, he had a moderate amount of followers on YouTube, nothing like it is right now.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And his financial means, to support his efforts, he couldn't afford to pay several $1,000s to a towing company to pull it out.
Absolutely.
So, I donated our time, and him and I clicked immediately. And and here it is. Almost 3 years later, him and I are, I'm helping him now full time, and the purpose is absolutely phenomenal, and I couldn't imagine doing anything else.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, yeah, it's something that's incredible. And I'm glad that you guys are able to do all this work and kind of go about that. You mentioned kind of you kind of described the Portland police with like red tape. And obviously, I'm not saying you're throwing those guys under the bus, but something I've noticed from your guys' videos is that, a lot of these local places to where you guys go just simply don't have, like they could be looking for cars, and, they've looked for maybe days, and you guys are able to go out in like an hour and find some of these cars that people are looking for. I mean, is it just the experience that you guys have, or is there something else more to where it's, it's just the difficulty of finding these things to where, I mean, obviously I know there's editing and stuff that goes on with your videos where there's, some time, and there is some time difference, but from what you guys say, there's a lot of, you guys are able to solve these things pretty quickly. How do you guys, attribute that success?
Yeah, as far as the editing, what you see in our videos is what happens.
Oh yeah, no,
we don't enhance anything. We're not telling tales.
Oh no, I meant more. I meant more in terms of just timing and stuff. But yeah,
I know what you meant. I just wanted to like clarify, like
absolutely, yes.
It is what it is. It really is. We come into some of these cases. It may take us 2 days to solve it. It may take us 4 days. I mean, we've solved a case in 9 minutes in being in an area. 9 minutes. We've solved a case in an hour. There's a whole grouping of factors that are reasons why we're so successful. And it has nothing to do per se with law enforcement and something they're lacking. Our ability to read sonar is organic. It's something that we taught ourselves here in Portland. We pulled out and searched for cars with sonar, more than 30 cars here in Portland alone, just in one city. And in doing that, we developed an uncanny ability to read sonar. And outside of that it's organic, and we've taught ourselves. Sonar technology is new.
Yeah.
So the sonar systems that we use really have only been perfected like within the last 10 years.
Yeah.
This is one of the systems that we use was invented in 2007.
Wow.
So not only is it a technology barrier, but like you have to know, you know what I mean? Like the police officers and law enforcement agencies, they're not per se looking for cars every day, if at all.
Yes.
Understanding what you're seeing on sonar, and then by us factoring in that we're divers and we're able to take those images we have on sonar and then go underwater and then have a hands-on experience, and sometimes visual, because most of the time is zero visibility. But for us to get underwater and put together what we're really seeing topside on sonar is rare. It's a gray area in law enforcement. And, we have agencies across the country, and organizations that are reaching out and wanting training from us, and wanting us to, how can they do things better? They're wanting to know how we're doing things. So it's there's a lot of factors that go into, what makes us successful, and the differences in law enforcement and government agencies. And another big thing is red tape. They have policies and procedures that prevent them from doing certain things, just as well as they have to justify the use of resources.
Yeah.
We don't have that justification. We don't have to justify anything.
Or how are you guys able to get around that? I mean, obviously looking for things there are certain things. I know that there are certain jurisdictions to where they can't cross it immediately. How are you guys able to kind of just get around that? As I know you guys are, obviously this is what you guys do, but how do you get the okay to go around this when even the authorities don't have that?
The authorities have to justify their use of resources. When we as citizens hear the term cold case, it's really misrepresented and misunderstood. Agencies, organizations, they have to justify the use of resources.
Yes.
We don't, whereas though a case has gone cold for them, we can then come in and we don't have to justify anything. We can come in, we can work the facts of the case, we can uncover clues, and we can just search even if we don't have clues. Whereas though, a captain, a lieutenant, a major, they have to sit back and take a case and say, hey, here, there's this X factor and there's this clue, pass it down to their sergeants and their underlings and say, hey, work on this.
Yeah. Eventually there is kind of a chain of command, I can imagine.
Yeah. But if there's nothing to go off of, or if they have a suspect with no real evidence, they can't continue to pursue the case.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of, individuals don't really grasp, is the concept of a cold case. And another example is, we've been invited in by law enforcement where their dive teams weren't allowed to dive. Conditions were too dangerous. And, we can come in, zero liability to law enforcement, and we can get the job done. We're going to dive. We don't, as obviously we're not going to be reckless with our lives, but we're able to cross specific lines we feel confident in crossing in order to get answers for families.
Does that ever make you nervous, though? The fact that when law enforcement will say, yeah, we don't feel comfortable having our own divers dive, but we'll send you in. Is that how do you guys kind of handle that whole thing? I mean, what kind of goes into that?
Absolutely not. I'm 100% comfortable with it, because their policies and procedures are for preserving life at all costs. If anything even comes close to being, sketchy, they're going to be against it. They're here to preserve and protect life that exists. When it comes to recovering a life that they've determined that no longer exists, it's not rescue anymore, it's recovery. Their recovery efforts have strong red tape. They're not going to jeopardize their lives to recover and get answers in a lot of these areas. Sometimes if it puts their life if they even think their life is going to be at risk, like I begun this statement with, we're not going to put our lives at jeopardy. However, we're a different breed. Bottom line. Watching Jared and then me using his dive intelligence and experience, I've absorbed that. I am well over 100 dives now into my very young dive career, but I'm very confident. I know what I can and can't do, and I'm willing to do some pretty extreme stuff, and I feel confident in doing some extreme stuff that professionals per se, don't really feel comfortable doing or confident enough doing. All my dives are almost zero visibility. I don't see nothing. I don't ever expect to see anything. I'm all completely hands-on, touch and go under the water. We usually have guidelines connected to the vehicles we're diving on. So when I am diving on them, it's, I'm going right down to the vehicle. I'm able to do my assessment and all of that type of stuff. And, whether we're in Florida and in alligator infested waters, or if we're in, Minnesota and the water's below freezing, it doesn't matter. We're going to get it done regardless.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously you said it's a slightly younger career for you. I know something I'm from what I've been able to see, Jared's kind of been doing the diving more for a bit more of, a longer duration of time. Something else that's kind of really cool about what you guys do is kind of the community of fellow divers and fellow recovery people that you bring in. Obviously, one of the notable people that you always bring in is Jacob Grubbs from Chaos Divers, along with Exploring with Nug. When I told you I went down the rabbit hole of finding you guys, I went down, each individual is, like that. So obviously bringing in those guys like that is very huge. For yourself, what have you been able to kind of like learn from these guys who have been doing it maybe a little bit longer than you? And also just how is that community just in general?
It's a movement.
Yeah.
Jared, through this has inspired, Jeremy with Exploring with Nug, and, Jacob with Chaos Divers, and Britain with Depths of History, and, the Georgia River Boys. And, even overseas, we got, Down Under Dan, who's taken these channels that are amazing channels, amazing guys. They're out there, they're treasure hunting, they're searching canals, and they're going on all of these really fun, awesome adventures. And people really want to see that. However, they've really taken a step back and was like, wow, like the stuff Jared is finding is right up my alley. Like I could take my efforts and put it into something. And then when you're watching something so powerful, so moving, you want to be a part of it.
Absolutely.
And I'm not diminishing anything those guys were doing before, but they see it and they want that. And as a human being, when you see the powerfulness, like you saw in some of our episodes, it's there's no coming back from it. There is a purpose there, and that's just goes to the profound prolificness of the name Adventures with Purpose, that what we're doing, that the purpose is so, like, it can't truly be described accurately.
Absolutely.
Yeah. When these guys are now becoming a part of this movement, they're out there solving cases now.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy with Exploring with Nug has found 3 people already.
Yeah, I think he solved the case that was like over 20 years old.
Yeah, he found those 2 teenage boys that were been missing, I believe, for 21, 22 years. And
that was a crazy video. I remember watching that.
Yeah, and we've all linked up, across the country together, and we've Jared and I have taken time to like show these guys, how to recover these cars, and first and foremost, how to find them in the first place.
Yeah.
What's underwater is out of sight, out of mind, and and you'll never know it's there, but with the sonar and then teaching those great young men how to read sonar, they're out there doing the same thing, and then they're helping families, they're helping communities, and it's truly an absolute movement. It's growing at an astronomical rate, and that's what happens when good people come together to do good things. And we're utilizing social media platforms to do good in the world. And that's the bottom line. We're helping families, we're helping law enforcement, and law enforcement all over the country is so welcoming to us when we come in and we're working these cases, because they absolutely understand what it is, how great of a resource that we are to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean, it's really amazing what you guys do. And not only have you guys, from what I've seen, been able to teach them in, each individual that you do, you're obviously it's kind of a simplified version for the viewer, but you're even teaching the viewer like what you guys are looking for in each video. I know you guys, I know you, Jared, you kind of like each video, you go over the sonar and basically what you guys are looking for. And it's really interesting to where maybe, someone like myself, where I'm looking at something, I'm just like, all right, that's just a speck of dirt under the water, but you guys can go, no, that's a tire. That's this car flipped in this way. And I'm like, it's really cool to where you're able to take this and, obviously make it an educational factor for a lot of people that maybe, had never thought about getting into something like this, but see something and realize, hey, I might have the means to go out and do something like this. And that, I think that's really also important in expanding the movement.
It is. We in other platforms, in other industries, you would never have that.
No.
If somebody has a recipe, they don't share that recipe, and they don't want anybody else cooking their meal the way they cook. Nike doesn't want somebody selling, $100 million worth of knockoff Nikes. They're suing them, but it's not like that. We go every step of the way to make sure that we hide nothing and we educate everyone, even if you're sitting on your couch or in your room, at your desk, on your bed, no matter where you're viewing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Understand what we're doing. We're teaching you as a viewer, what it is, how to read sonar, what we're looking at it every step of the way. And that's what it's all about. Like we have, there's no chips on our shoulders. We say it all the time. We're regular guys just trying to do good in the world. And, the more people that are out there doing what we're doing, the bigger the movement grows and the more good that's going to happen in the world. And that's the bottom line. And that's the common denominator with Adventures with Purpose, is that, we don't want to keep it a secret. We want as many people as possible to be able to help and do good just like we are.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. And obviously in my intro, that's why I said this is such a fascinating part of what you guys do, because this isn't something where you want to, this isn't like keeping a recipe or keeping a design to yourself. The goal is to help as many people as possible. And seeing the fact that you'll help, like you could go after someone who's doing this, that maybe they don't have as much of a following, but just to say to someone, hey, this is how you do it. If you're trying to make an impact, I mean, it's something that's really nice. And I love the fact that you guys actually do it. And obviously that's the fascinating part of what you guys do. I kind of want to shift to obviously the noble part of it as well, to what I highlighted in the beginning. Obviously, like you said, this started as an environmental cleanup effort, which is noble in itself. Something I want to know though is obviously, how did this shift? Like what, like for you guys, like obviously you guys are helping these creators themselves be like, hey, if you want to do this, like, and you've shifted the minds of many of these guys already doing like these treasure hunts. How did that shift happen for you guys?
It's just, being good people, and being welcoming and open arms, and, outside of the environmental aspect, outside of helping families, the big message in all of this is, anybody can do this.
Yeah.
You hear a lot of celebrities and entertainers and athletes, they preach that message all the time on how, this can be you, keep your dreams alive. And, it all starts with a step forward, and, just keep stepping forward and never give up on your dreams. And that's more or less, what we try to show everybody, is that, there's, I don't want to say there's nothing special about us, but there's nothing preventing you or the next person from doing the same thing. And we're not going to hide how it is we do this, just so that you can do this as well. I know it's a niche, and not very many people want to do this, but they can if they want,
Yeah, no, I mean, so was there then a case or something that really caught your eye and made you guys say that there was a shift, or was this something that was just, I guess, just gradual to where it just said?
And looking back in hindsight, nothing was gradual. It was just explosion and huge snowball effect that just, overnight there's just massive, it's massive. But when you really think back about the details and, how Jared started with the environmental aspect of it, the shift really came when Jared found his first car here in Portland, Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
Him and I linking up to remove that car. And the viewers that he had at the time really embracing, like, we love the fact that you got that car out of that river. The marine environment in that area is going to be so much healthier, not having all those oils, those fuels, the coolants, and glue from the interior, the toxins. And he kept running into cars.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept pulling him out, and the viewers kept seeing it. They kept liking it. They were embracing that. And when you're a diver and you're there to clean up the environment and you're trying to do your part, and you come across this bigger impact you can make on marine environments, which is removing all of these cars, and the viewers embracing it, you then start to focus. The focus started to switch, because we realized there was cars everywhere here in Portland underwater.
Yeah.
And then the cars started to link to human remains, cold cases, and the viewers, supporters started to say, hey, we have a family member that's missing. We see what you're doing, finding cars under the water. We think this, we think that. Can you come and help us? And that's really where it turned, was finding the cars, connecting them to cold cases. And then now we really specialize on missing people who are missing with their vehicles. And, we've done quite well. We're pretty successful. To solve a cold case, you have a half of a chance to solve a case that has gone cold. Right now, we're close to 20%. There's no other agency or organization that has that kind of percentage. And, we just continue to hope that we can stay on this path. Jared does a great job with investing into the purpose, putting all of our donations into, equipment and, travel and everything that supports the purpose becoming bigger and helping more environments and families. And that's the key to it. And then when you factor in, the movement inspiring other teams to do the same thing, it's growing a lot. I have a law enforcement. I have an entire state of Arkansas law enforcement committee that I'm going to go speak to here in a few months, and at a conference. And they want to know more about how it is we do what we do. They want to learn from our tactics and our capabilities. And we have different firefighter captains reaching out to us, wanting to know more about their equipment so they can become more in tune with the equipment that they have, because the equipment that we use is readily available to anybody. Whether you go to Bass Pro Shops or you go online, anybody can buy this equipment. Yes, it's expensive. It's definitely cutting edge technology, but anybody can access it. And a lot of people in most agencies have it. They just don't know how to manipulate it to do what we're doing.
Yes. Okay. So, obviously, having close to a 20%, success rate is obviously incredible for you guys. That's obviously amazing. And something that you kind of mentioned earlier, which which kind of ties into my next question was the fact that you said not everyone's trying to get into this line of work. And something that I guess kind of could go with that is the fact that, another thing you said too, is you're diving on cars that you believe have either human remains in them, or you're going to find a tag on a car to, confirm it. When you're going down like that, how do you compartmentalize all that? Obviously you're there to help the family, but it's something that I can't imagine is something that's easy for you, no matter how many times you do it. How do you kind of, how do you come together and really think about that when you're going down on these vehicles?
When I'm doing that or anything, whether we're investigating these cases, whether I'm going down on a car like you talk about, I hang my hat on the fact that there is, as bittersweet as it is, there's a silver lining in this, and that there's potential answers to a family and a community that is going to be on the other side of our investigation, that's going to be on the other side of my dive. And, when I'm going down, the only thing I'm thinking about is identifying the vehicle. I'm, assessing the vehicle, its position, its condition, and so forth. And that's all I'm focusing on. I'm not focusing on the dangers in the water per se. Because if that's the case, I wouldn't be in the water. If I'm worried about the alligators that are in the water, I would never get in because I'd be too scared. If I was worried about a tree floating down the river, I can't control those things. What I can control is getting the job done and being as efficient and as safe as I possibly can, and in and out in a timely manner. We're not in there, we're not playing, we're not sightseeing. And it's fortunately for us, the time that I am underwater is very limited. I mean, if you watch the stuff, we don't spend much time underwater because diving is very dangerous.
Absolutely.
It really is, especially when you factor in the conditions that we dive in. It's really dangerous. But thanks to donations in the community, we have been able to purchase, really good equipment. We use some of the best diving equipment there is on the market. And I've learned from one of the best divers in the world. So and then I was able to watch him firsthand dive for almost 2 years before I was even certified. So I had a really good grip on some extreme diving prior to me ever getting in it.
Once you do, successfully make an identification, whether on a tag or whether it's, remains or whatever could be down there that leads to, hopefully the success of this case, how do you then kind of go about, obviously getting back up, surfacing, and just kind of dealing with everything once you've made the, identification that's needed? What goes through your mind when that obviously happens?
It's as intense and as emotional as it gets.
Yeah.
When you've just found someone's loved one, and someone in an entire family and community has been just devastated over. I can't even accurately describe it. It just it kind of makes me want to choke up. It's intense.
Yeah.
Once we do make that discovery, and I'm topside, our focus, it depends. And most of the time, we have law enforcement or family there. If we have family there, our duty is to the family. We report directly to the family. We let them know what we have. Obviously it then becomes a crime scene. And then, we bring law enforcement in if they're not already on scene. A lot of times we have law enforcement and detectives that are working with us on scene active, and they're already there. They're already going through the motions. And then it just becomes a really tedious process after that. It's then a forensics recovery, underwater forensics recovery. And fortunately for us, Jared and I are the most experienced in the world at this. So with these dive teams that come in, these agencies, they rely on us for tips and information and tactics as far as, what they should or shouldn't do, because they understand, what we've done. And fortunately, through social media platforms with, 15 to 20 million views a month, most of these agencies and these organizations that we work with, they already know who we are. They respect what it is that we do, and they know we produce results. So they're there really to do their job, but also to use our experience and our wisdom that we have from all of this.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. The stuff you guys do is incredible, and helping out these families is obviously, you absolutely love to see. One of the best parts of obviously the videos that you guys put out is being able to see how just true emotions coming to, many of these family members when they have that. For you, I can't think of the word. I don't think rewarding or fulfilling are the words. But just for you, how do you what are the feelings that you feel when you know that you've helped a family solve some, identify someone they've looked for, sometimes even in case with you guys for decades? How does that kind of resonate with you?
It's an honor. I honor it. It's an honor to be able to do that, because I understand what I'm doing is something nobody else has done, and in some cases would never have been done. And I work with families all across the country, and I know their pain. And, when you lose someone that you love, to move on in life without knowing, you have to put up a wall, and you have to try to function between those walls. And it's hard. I always try to relate, if I lost someone that I loved and not know, and I can never come close to relating. And to see the release and the crumbling of that wall when we find their loved one, to see the release of that emotion that they've been just holding on to and trying to survive with for so long, it's an honor to give them that. It's they are now removing from their mental and emotional state what has tortured them for so long. So it's truly an honor to be able to do it, and which is why we really take what we do very extremely seriously.
Yeah.
It's something that we hang our hat on at the end of the night and know that we're doing good in the world, and we don't take it lightly at all.
No, I mean, you guys do not take it lightly whatsoever, and it's something that is very apparent in the content that you put out. And each time I watch, one of your videos, I can't help but tear up just, seeing that reaction that the families have. It's something that is truly, truly special. For yourself, obviously, you've done so many cases, you've dealt with so many different emotions that are involved with them. I mean, obviously, I don't think it's difficult for you guys to stay motivated at this point, because just knowing that you guys are able to go out and help so many families, it's really and truly impactful. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah. We have a huge database of families that reach out to us, letting us know about cases, in a lot of instances too, different law enforcement, reaching out to us, wanting our help on different things. So we have a quite a big database that, it's never ending work. And, we're not a government agency. So
No.
we don't have access to, the NCIC system or the other databases that federal and local state agencies have, that have all of these cases in them. We have less than 1% of what's really out there.
Mhm.
So, maybe one day, hopefully here in the near future, we will have, specific clearances that will grant us access to those databases, so that we can review cases that we don't know about. Almost 500,000 people go missing in America every year. A good percentage of them are found, due to runaway, et cetera. But, a majority of them, go missing and are never found ever again. And that's a huge, huge number.
Oh my
And
goodness.
we're really just trying to do our best and, help as many families as we can.
Yeah, I mean, and I have the utmost respect for that. It's amazing. Again, I can't describe how amazing it really is what you guys do. But obviously, again, dealing with that is, and dealing with, helping out these family members, it's something that can be I can only assume it's a lot to deal with. One thing that you guys have highlighted in your videos is that you guys all like to, after a case or just even during a case, you like to debrief and discuss your experiences. How helpful has that whole support system been with, being able to discuss and, just being able to let your emotions out when talking with these guys?
It's very important for us to do debrief as a crew.
Mm.
That's a very vital process. There's a reason that term exists, especially for something that's intense as it is. And if you use the model of other existing agencies and how they use it, the military, et cetera, it's there for a reason. And,
Yes.
we also understand that Jared and I, we have, a crew with us, two young guys, two amazing young men, Josh and Carson, that that are experiencing this along with us. They're there, they're holding the cameras, they're there every step of the way, helping just as much as we are, if not more almost. And so we have to take into consideration, how it's affecting them, keeping their heads level. And they're amazing guys. And they keep their focus the same way we do. The bittersweet silver lining in this is that we're doing something positive. Yes, it's super heavy stuff, but what we're doing is good in the world. And as long as you maintain your focus on that, we're going to be okay mentally and emotionally. And, that's the key in it. Debriefing is, how we handled it, what happened, the whole dissecting of what it is that we just did on that mission in that particular case, is great to get it out, talk about it. And it is great to learn. We end up talking every case that we do, we learn from. We've only been doing this for 2.5 years. So the fact that we're dealing with something so heavy, we understand that we're learning. And the more we learn about what we're doing and about ourselves and discuss that amongst each other, the more we're going to grow and the stronger we are going to be on the backside of things, and for the next case, et cetera.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. I mean, with the amount of success that you guys have already had in this short amount of time, it really makes me hopeful and just really interested in what you guys have coming down the pipe. Obviously, that is something that's going to be very interesting as well. Before we do kind of wrap things up, you mentioned the cameramen that work with you guys. I think you said Josh, and I forget the other gentleman's name. Carson, yes.
Josh Cantu. Josh Cantu actually does our behind the scenes episodes. He is our videographer, and jack of all trades on set. He does a lot. And he has a YouTube channel as well, Josh Cantu, Cantu, and he displays all of the behind the scenes stuff from his point of view. On all of our missions. And Carson McMaster, he's our executive producer, and he's traveling with us. He's our camera A. He's the brains behind the camera, and a lot of the things that you see that on your end when you're watching our episodes is all him.
Absolutely.
So great guys, and we wouldn't be able to do it without them.
Yeah. Why do you feel it is so important to, obviously, for anyone who hasn't seen your guys' videos, they're beautifully shot. I mean, very high quality, multiple angles that, you have the drone shots, and it's very professionally done. And it's something that's really interesting about your guys' videos. Why do you feel it is, why is it so important? Why do you guys at least feel it is so important to document your search in such a professional way to, why do you feel that way?
We call ourselves documentary filmmakers now, which we are. You're watching documentary, reality, 100% reality documentaries. And that's what created this. It started with Jared, and, the fact that he, documented his adventures and, his cleanups and, these vehicle recoveries. The viewers really took over, being able to show the nation, the world, what we're doing is what makes this work. Us filming what we're doing to help a family on any of these cases gives the potential to another family to view that and say, oh my God, like, we need this. Like my sister went missing 15 years ago, and like she's missing with her car. Can you guys come and help me? Which in a few weeks, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to help a young lady that watched our episode and got a hold of us, and her sister's been missing 16 years.
Wow.
And I'm going out to help her. And that's how we spread our message about our purpose, is through being able to bring the world into our cases, open arms. We're not covering nothing up. We're not enhancing anything. You get what you get. Sometimes it looks a little awkward, but we're not faking nothing. No. We've had TV networks that want us to work for them, and absolutely not. We go on. I'm about to go on a 45-day trip. I have about 23 cases that I'm going to be working, and that's a case almost every other day.
Yeah.
And, if we tie ourselves up with a network, it would be amazing money. But at the end of the day, we're not in it for the money. We're in it to survive and do good in the world. And a TV network is going to want to take a week to do what we do in 1 or 2 days. Therefore, it's going to water down the effect of us being able to help as many people as we can. Our numbers are going to go down as far as, finding people. We don't want that. And we can't afford to let that happen, unfortunately. Yes, millions and millions of dollars would be amazing. However, when you're a part of something that has such a profound purpose, money can't change that.
Mm-hmm.
For us, it can't change that. Money can change things, but money is only going to hurt our purpose as far as dealing with a TV network at this point.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to tie our hands. Where it's just me, Jared, and 2 camera guys. They're going to want to have, me, Jared, and 4 camera guys and a whole caravan of a crew, and it take way too much time to do what we do in just 1 or 2 days.
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
we have to keep our mind focused on the purpose, and Jared's really good about not letting what they're doing affect the purpose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So obviously, you talked about going to help out some people down the road. You talked about another trip that you guys have coming up.
Yeah.
Obviously, what are some of the goals that you guys have moving forward? Obviously, that trip is going to probably be a big part of it. I know something that I think you guys talked about in your New Year's video is, kind of getting back to some environmental stuff as well. What are some things kind of on the horizon now for Adventures with Purpose as you guys move forward?
To help as many families as we can.
Mm-hmm.
The COVID-19 is slowly being forgotten about. So the world is slowly opening up. When that does, we will be international. We have cases all across the globe, and there's amazing things coming. We're going to do as much as we can to help as many people as we can. I leave on the 13th for another 45 days, and we'll be on the road nonstop, trying to help as many families as we can. And we have to stay focused, and we have to keep it moving. And that's our plan, to keep the purpose out in front and follow it where it takes us.
Doug, that's amazing to hear. I mean, thank you so much for coming on the episode. Unfortunately, though, we are now down to the wire, which means that we're going to do a quick run through of what we talked about in the episode today and then send you guys off. Obviously, we welcomed in Doug Bishop from Adventures with Purpose today. We talked with him about obviously how he got involved with diving, getting involved with Adventures with Purpose, and some of the various things that he does with them. It was, Doug, obviously I can't say it enough. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Yeah, thanks for having me on to talk about our purpose and help spread our message.
Yeah, it is incredible what you guys do. Again, they have 26 cold cases solved, and they are not done. They are still always going to help more people. I'm really excited the fact that you guys are going to have talks of going international. That's incredible that you can help all these people out. I really do wish you guys the best of luck. Obviously, if there's anything you want to shout out personally for yourself now to spread the word, anything like that, I'll let you do that.
Yeah, if you're listening to this and you are not subscribed to our YouTube channel, take a second. It's free. Go over there, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Adventures with Purpose. We have Adventures with Purpose over on Facebook. It's completely what makes this work. It's community driven. Without the donations and the viewers, we would not be able to do this. And we're regular guys trying to use social media platforms to do amazing things in the world. So come over to Adventures with Purpose on YouTube, support what it is that we're doing. And yeah, I promise you, you won't be able to get out of the rabbit hole that you get into.
Yeah, I can, as someone who's currently in it, I can guarantee it's amazing stuff that these guys put out. I cannot recommend it enough. Obviously then for anyone that's not falling down to the wire at this point, what are you guys doing? We're available everywhere you guys can find podcasts, whether that be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and more. We're also available to watch this as a video stream on our YouTube channel. You can find that at Down to the Wire, and you can find all of the links to these things on our Instagram. You can find, and that obviously is at down.to-the-wire on Instagram. Again, at down.to-the-wire on Instagram. Doug, thank you so much for coming on. And from Down to the Wire, I'm Brian Costa.
I'm Doug Bishop.
And we hope you guys have a great day. Take care and peace out.